Once you've installed our package and performed the onboarding process, you should have received an email indicating that your license is active. You're now ready to start dedubing your data. Let's go to the DataTrim DubAlert tab, and if you have completed the setup, click the button Don't Show This Again to get rid of the splash screen. This tab represents the admin part. You run deduplication by creating and activating alerts. You can have multiple alerts and only activate those that you want to process. Let's start by running an account deduplication. I create a new alert and name it Test1. This single screen represents all you need to do in order to run a deduplication. In fact, to run the deduplication, you only need to concentrate on the 6 fields in this section. Let me explain the fields one by one. DubAlert type. Here you define what you want to run your deduplication on: accounts, contacts, leads, and even leads against contacts and leads against accounts. The match level is a way to indicate how tight you want the matching to be. We're operating with 5 different levels: exact, super tight, tight, medium, and loose. You can use this to run your deduplications in a top-down approach, clearing out all the obvious duplicates first and then work your way down to the more questionable ones later. The default survivorship rule is an indicator as to, by rule of thumb, which records you prefer to become the master record. Our system uses this to label the 2 records in a matched pair so that you always have the records which comply with the rule on the right and the dupe on the left. You can at any time, when you merge, follow this rule or make use of the advanced survivorship rule, or even freely merge based on your own criteria. In order to run, you need to activate the alert. Define whether it's a scheduled deduplication or single time run using the once option. And finally, you select when to run the alerts. Use, for example, Pacific to run the deduplication after midnight Pacific time, or use the value next to let the alert run immediately. I've now completed the setup. All I need to do is save the alert and the deduplication will begin. I'll just set this date filter back in time, more about the filters later, and enter my license number here. Simple, right? You don't have to worry about which fields to use for the deduplication and whether you want fuzzy logic, transpose logic, or alpha search, and whatever the techies call it. It's all built into the system by default, so why worry? Depending on the size of your database, the deduplication may take from a few minutes to a few hours. While it's running, let me quickly show you the setup part. First time I'm here, I'll paste in the license number. This way I don't have to find the email each time I create a new alert. The system will simply pick it up from here. And notice this little checkbox. I make sure it's checked so that I'm notified by email when the deduplication is done. For more about the other setup parameters, please have a look at the user guide. For this tutorial, we'll leave everything as it is. Now I got my email, and I go check out the result. The result is here in the second tab. From this you can see that the result is okay, that I matched 125 records against 125 records, and that 20 potential duplicates were found. These 20 potential duplicates are available for me in the DataTrim Match Record tab, so let me go and have a look. The DataTrim Match Record tab is the main tab for reviewing and merging records. Now, the alert I ran was for accounts, so I choose the built-in view, Review Accounts. Note that you can edit these views or even create your own views to focus your review process, but for this tutorial I'll use the standard views. The 20 records are here, and I can now start merging them using the Mass Merge option to merge them all in one go, or the Merge wizard to merge the matched records 2 by 2. For more about the review and merge options, please watch the review and merge tutorial on our website. I'll go back and run another alert, this time for leads. I create a new alert, I name it My Leads, and set the basic values as before. This time I'll be using some of the advanced features because I don't want to dedupe all the leads in one process. I want to focus on a subset of my leads. To do so, I use the filters. To understand how the filters work, there's one very important thing to notice. We have filters for the secondary dataset and filter for the master dataset, because our solution is always comparing something against something else. the secondary dataset against the master dataset. It's easy to visualize when talking about comparing leads against contacts, but even when comparing records from the same table, our system operates with two datasets. In the previous examples, the two datasets were the same, so I matched 125 records against 125, but by working with the filters, I can match one subset of records against another. Let's look at some examples. Assuming that I've imported some leads and linked them to a campaign. Now, before I start qualifying these leads, I would like to check them for duplicates. I can do this simply by selecting the campaign from the campaign lookup window. By leaving the master filter empty, I match the imported records against all the other leads. I can also use the text area field to define my filter, and here we support a 100% Salesforce SOQL language, giving you a lot of freedom and flexibility, but also syntax which needs to be followed. As an example, I can filter by status, by owner, by record type, by country, etc. And I can even combine the filters using logic operators like this. By using the little checkbox master equals secondary, I can with a single click define that my master dataset is the same dataset as the secondary, and I will now only dedupe a subset of my data and not everything. By using the advanced parameter fields, you can customize the behavior of the matching process. There are more than a dozen different parameters to use. They're all documented in the user guide, but just to mention a few. We have the ability to make the matching engine ignore account records which already are linked through the parent field, so that you don't have to review records which already are linked organizationally. There's also an option to only match records which are owned by the same user, and this way you would avoid having to resolve account management issues during the review and merging process. Let's save and activate this and have a look at the results. The matching is done, and I now have a new result record, which also is linked here as a related list. That now tells me that the deduplication went OK and that there are 8 records to review. I can now go to the Data Trim Match Record tab and start merging the records as before. Once you've done your initial deduplication and cleaned up your existing duplicates, you can use the scheduling functionality to set the deduplication to run automatically with regular intervals. This way you can make sure that your database stays clean over time. Thank you for watching this short tutorial. I hope it gave you an overview of how deduplication can be done with DataTrim duplicates. For more information, please have a look at the other tutorials on our website or check the user guide for further details. Thank you.